Hello, welcome to this tutorial on creating a custom logo header for your ePortfolio. In Weebly, the header begins as a simple text header. You can substitute a logo header using this toggle box. Here is a logo header that I created in the GIMP. The point of this tutorial is to show you how to make a logo header similar to this one. The first thing I did in creating this header was finding a piece of stock clip art. I found this art at vectorstock.com where they have a lot of free vector art. So let's go to the GIMP and I'll show you how I did it. When you begin the GIMP, you'll have a toolbox, a working space, and a dialog space. I like to create one workspace with single window mode. The next step would be to go and create a new document, and we're going to use a web banner huge template. And we're going to set the advanced options to transparency. The transparency is denoted by the checkerboard in the background, and is that checkerboard, the transparency background, that lets us be able to see the background of this web page through our logo header. So the first thing I did was downloaded some vector art, and I found that on the vector site that I showed you. And here's the JPEG I'm going to use for this example. So we're going to bring the JPEG into the site, into our GIMP workspace. And notice it's huge, it's very large. We're going to need to scale this down to size. When I dragged it into the workspace, it created a layer for it. And let's go and scale that layer right now. The first thing you want to do whenever you scale is lock the proportions. And then begin dragging until the graphic gets small enough that you can see your workspace. I can click in the middle to position the graphic, and I will say scale. The next thing I need to do is get rid of the orange background. To get rid of the orange background, I can go to my color selector tool and select the orange. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I have an alpha channel on this layer. Looks like I already have my alpha channel. I've selected my orange. Now I'm going to cut. I'm going to move my active layer, so I'm going to use the move tool. Move the active layer and position my graphic. Next, I'm going to adjust this so that it's white instead of orange. I can do that by protecting the transparency with this lock button here. I need to turn off any active selections like this one. Select none. And then I can drag and drop any color into this logo, and it will turn to that color. Next, I need some text. I'm going to use this backspacer tribute text, and I'm going to make it start with 75 pixels in height. And I'm just going to use it for my E. I'm going to move this text with the Move tool. Looks like 75 was a little large. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. Go back to the Text tool. Click back on the E. And I can adjust the size of my text here, or by highlighting and using the style box. Now I'm going to go back and reposition the text. And I'm going to change it to white text. Okay, now I have my E in place. I'm going to put Portfolio. I'm going to pick another text, another font. I'm going to use this Noteworthy font. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to click on a new layer and then do the Noteworthy font. So I'm going to click out of my original text layer and click out onto the workspace so I get a new text layer. Go back to find the Noteworthy font. Change it to white. And then type Portfolio. Now my text is really large right now, that's why it's showing up down here. I'm going to adjust the size of that text. And move it. And go back and adjust again. And this is a matter of going back and forth a little bit. If I'm using the style box, I need to highlight. Move. Right there. So I have ePortfolio of Herb Morlock. I'm going to add one more style feature. Put some spaces between the letters. And I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. Move it back into place. And my header logo graphic is well on its way to being finished. The last thing I need to do is save the file. I'm going to save as. Headerlogo.xcf. XCF is the GIMP extension. I'm going to save it on my desktop. And then I'm going to export a PNG file. File, Export. And I want a PNG. The PNG will allow it to save the transparency. Export. And I'm going to export the image. And it went right to my desktop. Now I can bring my logo back up. I can edit my logo. I can delete this one and add a new image from my desktop. Header logo PNG. Reposition. And say save. And I have a nice custom header logo for my web page. That's all for now. If you have any questions, let us know.